Hi guys,
Hey,
I'm Gail,
I'm Russell.
and welcome to another episode of our podcast. Today we are going to go into part 2 of what we started last week, which was we were going into an overview of the relationship method, which is what we teach. And last week we covered the relationship entity, which is at the heart of the relationship, communication and connection. And today we're going to jump into the masculine and feminine state and self-actualization.
Cool.
Oh.
Which one are you going with? Masculine and feminine state to start with. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Perfect.
So the masculine and feminine state is the dance between the couple, the two of you, and
the two energies.
And just for if there's same-sex couples watching here, it's the same deal. It's one of you needs to occupy a masculine state in that relationship. One of you needs to occupy a feminine state.
And it is important that if it's two women in relationship as well, just to notice, it's important that each of you have the experience of being in your feminine state. Even though you'll need the polarity of having and the duality of both so that you can dance and flow in the relationship, each of you will need to experience that. And likewise, if it's two men in a relationship, each of you will need to experience your masculine state because that's your core state. But for the relationship to flow and move together, it'll be the masculine and feminine dance the same way. So you can map that on.
And if you're in a relationship like we are here, the masculine state is my natural state for me. And her feminine state is her natural state. For a man who's not in his masculine state, it's not really so much exhausting. It's just not satisfying. It doesn't tick all the boxes for us. It doesn't fulfill us in life. It doesn't give us that sense of success, of accomplishment that we need.
I kind of think of it like the thing I always like to say to men when I'm working with them is that it's like you get to have crumbs instead of the whole cake.
Yeah.
So it's unfulfilling. Like if you just got to pick and taste a little bit off the plate versus having the whole cake, it's a totally different experience of life. Whereas for women, when we are in a masculine state, you will physically have things go on with your body. Like you'll be exhausted. Your body will take you out. It'll feel like the weight of your shoulders, the weight of the world is on your shoulders.
The weight of your shoulders is on the world.
It'll be like, like life will be heavy and it'll feel like you're carrying everything versus like, even if you think of a feminine body, like the feminine flows. And we have curvaceous bodies in the same way that our energy needs to flow in that same way. Whereas if you look at a man, he's men are very like boxy, right?
Yeah, and
from stature point of view.
I talk about being the rock from a masculine point of view, but that doesn't mean like being hard or being tough, not being open, not being vulnerable, not crying. It just means that you're like steadfast, like a rock, and you're kind of immovable in the pursuit of the certainty in the relationship. And so many men are full of self-doubt and lack confidence and full of lacking self-worth, and so we have to become this kind of solid rock for ourselves where we know no matter whatever happens, we've got this. And that doesn't mean you don't have days where you're upset or not or unhappy or whatever, or confused or anything like that. It's just this kind of steadfast rockness about us.
Yeah.
That when you really embrace it, you can tackle life and the relationship and your partner in a more certain manner, in a way that allows you to not get so derailed by the ups and downs of life, the ups and downs of relationships, the ins and outs of women.
Yeah, and you hold fast. So if you think of like a rock, and as the ocean is actually pouring in the waves, if you like your woman in the relationship, the waves crash around this rock, but the rock stands solid. And it kind of is like that when you think of the energy of the feminine state. It's like we crash around the rock and like all these things happen. It's like and like life happens. But the man in his certainty, in his rock, being the rock in the relationship and for himself, is like things can happen around him. He's not getting taken out.
Yeah, I mean that's the best analogy really, is the waves crashing around the rock. Because if you think about your relationship, your partner from a masculine point of view is coming to you, maybe arguing, complaining, making you feel like you're not doing a good job, whatever it is. That's how they are. They're just kind of smashing around. And if you stay strong as this rock in the ocean, if what happens with most men is they're kind of more like a pebble that gets washed back and forward on the shoreline. Like, you've seen it when these waves come in, the pebbles roll up. When the waves go out, the pebbles go out. We want to get away from that type of experience and get more to this kind of rock idea in the middle. that we are there, and she can crash around us if she wants. And that really, if you think about it like that, the rock doesn't sit there going, you know, oh no, how much longer is this wave going to crash? Oh no, when is it going to calm down? Oh no, when is this wave? Why is this wave so high today?
It just bees.
The rock just is the rock, and that's the energy that we want to get in the relationship.
Well, and it's interesting as well, because even if you look at it from the feminine point of view, as the waves and the energy is like, the waves don't go like, how do I move this rock out of my way so I can crash more freely? It's like it just allows itself to crash around and move and ebbs and flows around that rock. It doesn't go like, oh, there's a rock, I can't go there, or let me move this rock out of the way so that I can be. It just bees. So the ocean bees in the same way as the rock, and it just works. And that's the dance of the two energies. It really is this like whole beautiful like way that the two operate together, and like the masculine state leads and the feminine state accepts and follows, and those two things happening in unison create a beautiful duality and dance in the relationship.
And this is not, you know, this is not a truth as much as an observation that people have made. Not us, just us, or us. People have taught us it. People got taught it early on. It's an observation of this is what works in a relationship. So often we'll see couples that will come to us, and this is where we always start. We always start with the polarity and the masculine feminine state. And the reason for that is because often what we find is that the woman's going crazy, splashing around in a relationship, trying to find the rock, and there aren't any rocks because there's a man in there that's splashing around too, trying to also find a rock because he doesn't feel like he's got that himself. And so there's no space for each entity, each energy, each state to exist, because they're both missing. The vulnerable, open, flowing, surrendering feminine is missing, and the certain, owning, providing masculine openness is missing as well.
Yeah. And then like one important aspect of the masculine and feminine state is embracing the energies, and I think it's important to bring that in now, because it's like when you can embrace the differences between the two, you can actually move and flow much more freely. When you resist or you do your best not to be, or you're in the wrong emotional state, and what I mean by wrong emotional state, like if I'm in my masculine state, shit's not working. Like I'm controlling, I'm hard, I'm fixed, I want things done now, and I'm very rigid in how I show up. Whereas if I show up in my feminine state, I can flow and I can move through things, and we can kind of deal with what needs to get dealt with, and not in a like lay down and take it kind of way, because some people will hear the feminine state as, oh, you just lay down and take that. It's like, well, no. If you can know anything about me, you will learn that I'm a very strong woman. But in my feminine state, I bring something beautiful to the relationship, and that allows the relationship to flow, just like the masculine state for Russell.
And the number one problem in the relationship lies in these two states. Like the reason that most people are struggling lies in the fact that the man at some point has let the woman down.
Yep.
And multiple times, in fact, we do our best, but we make mistakes. And because of that, the feminine stops trusting. As soon as the feminine stops trusting, they step up, take control, and step into a masculine state. Yeah. And the man is only too happy most of the time to step down into a little boy state. And this is the number one problem in a relationship. The man feels that in his little boy state, that is his happiest place he can get to. And it's so not accurate. And
it's like a misconception.
Yeah, it's so why men are not fulfilled in a relationship, because they think they can get away with just sitting on the couch after work, drinking a beer, playing the PlayStation, not showing any attention, not doing anything to take care of their environment, their wife, their children. They almost check out and withdraw, and or they become overly controlling and dominating. And those things, I mean, I think the withdrawing one and the checking out You know, oh, my man just doesn't get it. He doesn't understand. He doesn't do any of the stuff that he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
That's the number one issue. And it's really starting to understand there's so much more to the masculine state than that. And that the problem is that men are stuck in a little boy state.
Yeah.
We are stuck looking for that validation from our father, or that validation from our mother, or that love from our mother. And because of that, we're always looking for our partner to somehow be soothing those wounds, which in a minute we'll get into the self-actualization part of this, and this is why that's so important. But I really want to emphasize that the problem for men is that they can just work, do what they need to do for themselves from a hobby point of view, come home, be a little bit interactive, but mostly they can check out. And I would call that only being 10% involved in the relationship. That, you know, they think going to work is what makes it work.
No.
But it just doesn't mean anything to a woman. As soon as you stop working or stop bringing in the money, the woman's going to go crazy. But so it's not like, as a accomplishment in the relationship, it doesn't do anything.
It doesn't tick the whole box. Like, you go to work to provide, but then there still is the work inside the relationship and showing up and being present when you get home as well. And I think that's the biggest thing. Men go, well, I've just worked a full 8-hour day, and then they come home. And women too are working, or they're watching children and all those kinds of things. And it's like, for men, it's like, well, I've worked a whole 8-hour day. Now I want to chill out and have my own time. And they forget to actually participate and show up in the relationship.
Yeah.
And for women, a biggest thing to watch out for is if you're stepping into, especially if you've got children, if you're stepping into a mothering state. Because what that actually does is it actually locks your partner into, if you're being mothering with your intimate partner, not with your children, but with your intimate partner, that is going to lock him into a little boy state if you don't actually know it. And it's going to feel like you have another child versus actually, you know, you've got a partner in life. And it's important to notice that and to breathe into your body and let go of that state. And then you can still ask the same questions and do the same things, but from a different emotional state, we'll have a totally different response. And I think that's important to note here as well, as people often come to us and they're like, well, I did everything to fix my relationship, or I do that in my relationship. And I'm like, okay, so either the state or the strategy's at one of those two, because otherwise the result would be happening. And 9 times out of 10, it's the state. It's like, are you in a feminine state? Well, and some women will go, well, yes, I am. I'm like, okay, and then I'll ask a few more questions. Are you feeling like rigid? Are you feeling like you're in control? Can you let go? And we talked about the other week about leaving your post. Can you leave your post? Can you step down? Can you stop mothering him and actually just ask for what you want? Those are two very different things. Now, you can do it from a mothering state or a masculine state, or you can do it from the feminine state. I mean, all those things will bring about a different result. And I think that's part of the art of learning the dance in the energies, is when you can actually really start to see and more experience, you feel the difference in how you show up.
Yeah. And obviously, relationships not the only thing we do, and this goes across the board. We always say that the right state, the right strategy, you'll get the right result. If something's not working in any area of your life, and this is as true in relationship as anywhere else, if you're not getting the result you want, either the state is out or the strategy is out. And often changing state is what allows you to work out the right strategy.
Yeah, I mean, like even the other day, we were both like, this is going to lead into self-actualization as well, but I think we were both in a not a great state, and we were both triggered, and trying to have a conversation from that space is like pulling teeth. It's like two people butting heads trying to like gain control, and it's not a pleasant thing. Whereas, you know, we took 10 minutes, we went and did other things, and then we came back together and we're having a conversation like outside. And the same conversation, by the way, just both of us in a completely different emotional state, in a non-triggered state as well. And then the conversation flows totally different, right? Yeah.
For many reasons, like we're not very good at letting go of control or letting things play out. And from a feminine point of view, this is really important that you end up stepping in to do things before you give the man a chance to do it, or you don't let him make the mistakes.
Yeah, like let him fall on his face.
Yeah, it's so yes, of course we all have an opinion about the way things should be and what's right and what's wrong, but from a feminine point of view, the breathing.
Well, breathing into your body is a key component for the woman. Like,
do I really need to get involved in that? Is a question that I think you have to be asking on a regular basis, right?
Yeah, and like, can I take a breath right now? And not just like, obviously you breathe all day, every day, right? But I mean, like, actually take a breath and breathe into your body. And then you ask the question, like, do I need to get involved in that right now? Is there actually anything required there? Or, am I putting in them fighting words?
Yeah.
Because that's a great question to be asking yourself at any given point in time. Like, is there actually anything for me to do right now with that?
We were actually talking about this kind of cross-contamination the other day, and we were talking about parenting the children. And we were both having a conversation about what happens to the other one when one of us raises our voice or starts to get upset.
Yeah.
And we were both saying how we both feel the need to get involved.
Yeah.
So if I noticed if she raises her voice to the children, I have this idea that I need to get involved and take care of them, protect, make everything peaceful, make everything right and easy, like somehow, like as if she can't parent, as if she's not going to sort it out, as if I wasn't here, she'd be screwed, which is ridiculous. But I noticed that feeling come up in me, and so I have to then just notice it and just go, okay, just relax. She's totally capable of handling this, and the children are totally capable of handling Gail, and everything will work out fine if I stay out of it. We are not very good at staying out of it. And so if you can even learn to start staying out of it, and use this as a kind of metaphor, an analogy for what's staying out of it. And Gail was talking from her own point of view. Yeah, if I raise my voice to the children,
like I'm the opposite to Russell. Like when he raises his voice, like I raise my voice, like it gets loud, and because again, this is setting into self-actualization, because it triggers inside me a feeling that I feel the need to escalate my level of voice.
Input, defense, attack,
create an outcome, like it needs to get done, very rigid and hard.
So we're doing this all the time in a relationship. We're continually putting input in where it doesn't need it.
Yeah.
And this is I'd say it's more happens because what will happen in the masculine and feminine. But what happens normally in a relationship is the man will more naturally step out. Or there is an over controlling as well. So he'll be over controlling and dominating, or he'll step out. Whereas the woman will be more likely to not step back and want to put something in. And it happens a lot in a relationship. We have to learn to
lead. Like the masculine has to learn to lead.
Yeah, and the feminine needs to learn to surrender and to let that lead happen.
Yeah.
Even if you think sometimes it's not going to go where you think it'll go, it doesn't actually ever go as bad as you think it will, ladies.
No.
Well, occasionally it might, but if it does, you'll jump in and rescue it at that point, right?
Yeah, and it really is embracing the energies, right? Like embracing the differences that like the masculine is different to the feminine. We're not the same. Like. People are very confused thinking we're equal people, but like we're equal in different ways, right? Like we're equal human beings, but like from an energy point of view, like the masculine state and the feminine state are two very different things. And if you don't understand your optimum state, so for me, the feminine state, if I don't understand, if I don't experience that, if I don't allow myself to feel it, my life, my relationship, my capacity to run my business, to parent my children, it suffers drastically if I choose to not be in the right state. And I think you would say the same would be true for you for the masculine state.
Yeah, it's not fulfilling, right?
Yeah, but not just not fulfilling, like your day in, day out. Like for me, day in, day out doesn't function like a well-oiled machine if I'm in the wrong emotional state. So I don't know if it's true. I'm obviously not a man. I don't know if it's true.
I just wouldn't call it a product of functionality. I would call it a product of satisfaction, fulfillment, and overall feeling of well-being.
Different.
Yeah, I would say it's different. For the way you describe it,
Yeah.
you describe it as you feel like you're not functioning at your best. I feel more like I'm not satisfied. You know, those days where I say, I did nothing, wasted it. What's this about? It feels like that. Like if I haven't been involved in the relationship, then it doesn't feel satisfying to me.
Yeah. So which leads us into the next part, which is self-actualization.
Yeah.
And self-actualization, this cornerstone, is actually all about the work, the healing, the things that you do to take care of self.
Yeah. So
that light totally just threw you.
Yeah, the light just went off, and I just want to make sure I'd like it to come back on, but I don't think I'm going to get it to come back on. So anyway, we'll just leave it off now. So yeah, and so with self-actualization, it really is the self-actualization part of it is this. All the conflicts that we ever have are to do with your own growth and your own understanding of yourself. Yeah. You know, the thing that people struggle with most is they just don't understand why they do what they do. They don't understand their feelings. They don't understand their emotions. That's why when a big event happens, a big sad event, people fall in a heap. If you lose someone, or you lose a job, or your life's not going well, or your partner leaves you, people fall in a heap. And the reason they fall in a heap is because they don't understand their emotions. They never took the time to understand what all these feelings are about. And most days you can bury them under the carpet. You don't even have to worry about it. They're there, they're causing you a problem, but you don't know they are. So what you've got with self-actualization, it falls into a few major categories. Yeah. But you know, as we're growing up, we're trying to make sense of the world. We're trying to understand the world based on our own perception of it. And what we do is we give everything meaning, and we form beliefs, rules, stories, and opinions. And that's how we run our lives from then on. It's not even your life. The life you are living right now is not even your life. The things you are upset about right now are not even things that you created that upset you. They were given to you, inherited. So what happens is you create these rules about what you watch around life. So you see your parents and how they behave. You see money and how it works. You see struggles some places. You see happiness some places. You see relationships. You form rules about what a man is, what a woman is. You just form this massive rules before you even have an intelligent brain. Like, you know, like as an 8-year-old, a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, however old you are, as a child, you form these rules. And those rules you continue to live by over and over again without ever looking at them and asking yourself, why did I make that up? Why do I believe that's what love is? Why do I believe that's what happiness is? Why do I believe that's what a woman should do? Why do I believe this is what I believe about anything? So you form this structure of rules. You form this structure of beliefs, all these things you believe in that you never stopped, and nobody ever gave you as an adult, when you had an intelligent brain, nobody ever gave you a list of possible beliefs and said, which ones would you like to choose? You know, look, here's one that says business is a struggle, life is hard, money is difficult. And here's one that says business is easy, career's awesome, money flows, and life is simple and pleasant. Which one would you like to choose? Nobody ever did that to you. So you ended up, you went to your default beliefs. And most of those default beliefs are actually the default beliefs handed down from your parents,
other people, influences in your life.
Generational, or they're the ones you've pushed against and rebelled against. So, but it's still the same side of a different side of the same coin. So you end up with these rules, you end up with these beliefs that aren't yours. Then you make stories up. You make stories up about why she's like she is, why she does what she does, why she talks to me the way she does, why she's got that little smirk in her face now, why she's looking at me, why is she giggling, why you would just keep stories endlessly. It's like you're not seeing reality, you're not seeing what's really there, you're not seeing what's really so, you're not seeing your partner, you're seeing a story about your partner. And then on top of that, you then create, so if I keep going, because I just have to get through these 4 things. That's what I'm thinking, right? So, and now, but I've stopped. I'm off my flow now. Now I've stopped. I can't remember what the other one was. So you've got, and then you form opinions about everything. Like you're opinionating on everything, and if something out there doesn't match your opinion, then you fight for your opinion because you think you're right, and you think that opinion actually changes reality. So what happens is you don't see reality. You see your reality. You see your reality the way you think it is based on a childhood and a set of rules, stories, beliefs and opinions that began to formulate and then continue to evolve from the ages of 2 to 7 or 8 years old. And you just keep repeat, and you never stop to check. And that forms what I call, it's a series of filters, and those filters form what is your map of the world. And your map of the world is your map of the world. It's how you think the world should be. Inside your map of the world, you have an unwritten series of rules, stories, beliefs and opinions about what people should do if they love you, how people behave if they love you, how a partner should treat you, what it should feel like to be in a relationship, how life should go, what you need to be happy. You have a series of things like that in your map of the world. Well, guess what? So does she.
And those maps are not the same.
Those maps are completely fucking different.
And then I think, like, when you're looking to take care of self, you have to remember that these 2 maps are conflicting, right? Well, some of them really flow on really nicely, and other aspects of them totally conflict.
Some bits do. At an essence, at a true self place, some of these things blend beautifully. That's why we're attracted to each other.
Yeah.
But a lot of times your maps are clashing, and guess what? You think you're clashing, and you are not. Your map is clashing with theirs. And what happens when 2 borders in the world come up together and they don't agree with each other? They go to war. That's exactly what you're doing.
In your relationship.
In your relationship. Your map that you didn't create, don't forget, it's your map. It's not the map, it's your map. So your map that you didn't create is clashing with her map or his map that he or she didn't create.
Yeah.
And then you'll go into war over protecting the boundary that you didn't create in the first place. And so you're not fighting ever with your partner. You're fighting with a map that they made up that they don't even realize they created.
Yeah. And your partner becomes a source of, like, triggeration for all of your own things that you're dealing with inside of that map. So, like your childhood wounds, for example. And childhood wounds, don't hear that as, like, we all have them, by the way. Like, it's not, they're not like just limited to people who have had traumas or little t traumas, capital T traumas, or sensual traumas, all those kinds of things in life. They're not just limited to those people. Every single human being has childhood wounds. You just may not know and may not be aware of them. And then what's fun, fun, your partner will actually trigger and be a massive source of triggeration to your childhood wounds, because you chose to be in relationship with this person, and the self-actualization cornerstone is, how do I learn and grow inside of this, knowing full well that my partner is going to be a massive source of growth, just like your children are massive sources of growth for you to overcome things from your past as well.
With that, what were you saying about the triggeration? And then you said you were saying about the map there. I was going to say something about it. I think it's gone now, so I just have to keep going. Yeah. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah, so oftentimes what happens in relationship as well, it's important.
It'll come back to me in a minute.
Important to say is that, like...
Oh, sorry, if you moved on. Keep going. I'm just having a conversation to myself here.
I know. Russell's having a conversation outside of his head right now. That leads into, like, different personality types. So Russell's personality type is one that has conversations inside his head, and some of them come out outside. You just got to experience firsthand him having an internal conversation out loud for all of us to see, which is very cool.
Yeah, so leading on, you're going into personality types.
Yeah, because under self-actualization actually follows your personality type as well. And these are also formed very early on. We all have a personality type that we fall into, and when you understand your own personality type, which we do a 3-day weekend called Wisdom Warriors, where we teach about this, and you actually sit in, observe and explore and at the end of the weekend and throughout the weekend, you discover your actual personality, and then how your personality actually works and flows with that of your partner.
Oh, I want to go back to what I was going to say.
Okay.
So she was talking about like the triggers and everything, and we were talking about childhood wounds. So the thing to understand with childhood wounds is there's what I call capital T traumas and little t traumas. And the little t traumas can be tiny. And what it causes is, as a child, it causes a moment of emotional impact. Once you cause that moment of emotional impact, then you create a coping strategy. That coping strategy becomes the filter of how you live your life. It becomes part of your map. So what there is to understand about it, if you say to yourself, I don't have any traumas, any upsets, it can be a tiny little thing. And some people even say, well, I don't feel any of that. The reason they don't feel any of that is because when they had their moment of emotional impact, before they can even consciously remember, they used a coping strategy called numbing out, shutting down, or checking out.
Locked and loaded. They shut it all down, and it's stored away in there.
So it causes a lot of unhappiness, and it's difficult for people that do that to see. But if you're sitting here right now listening, going, I didn't have anything upsetting or sad or any wounds happen when I was a child, you did one of two things. You did Gail's personality. So going back to personality types, Gail's personality type is looking at things too positively. So every time a negative event happens, she's going to see it as a positive event, right? So that's what she does. And the other thing you can do is you can numb it out, check out, shut it down. So you're doing one of those two things if you're not relating to any sort of childhood wound, because I promise you they're there.
Knowing you have traumas, like trauma doesn't just mean the big stuff either, guys.
Yeah.
Like there are the big things, and yes, okay, but then there are
we haven't all had those big things.
Moments of emotional impact. So it's any moment of emotional impact. Somebody was mean to you, you got left out at school, like the teacher gave you a low grade. Like these don't have to be massive things either. It's just there was a moment of emotional impact that landed for you, and any moment left unexplored, or like if you actually have spent no time getting to know who you really are and how you've made sense, all the coping strategies, your stories, rules, beliefs, and how you show up now in the world, you aren't actually you. It's like you're you with a whole pile of other shit on you. And it's like what's happening when you're working in the self-actualization cornerstone is you're actually coming home to you, who you really are. So it's not about fixing anything, but more so about peeling back the layers, so what's left is your true essence and who you really are in this world. And when you talk about being in an intimate relationship, you and your partner actually want to come home to who you both truly are. And so then you're having a true self relationship versus like a head-to-head or ego relationship where you're relating to each other and your stories, rules, and beliefs, your triggerations, your childhood wounds, all of the things. Instead, you're actually looking like, who is this person really? So like when Russell is pissing me off, right? I have a whole bunch of rules, stories, beliefs, opinions about how he's being and why we can get through those times. And what makes us, I think, different from other couples is that we move through those and we know who we are. We hold who we are, our true self version of each other, at a much higher place than the shitty things or how we might show up when we're at our worst. And when you can actually do that, it gives you great freedom and grace to be able to move and flow through arguments, or when big stuff comes up, or like what do they always say, kids, renovations, and money problems are always big things that couples go through. And I think if you can move through anything with your partner, and by the way, you actually can move through anything, you just have to have trust and have faith that your relationship can withstand anything if you know the tools and how to work through it together. And what you come out the other side as is a much stronger, much connected, much more togetherness in the relationship.
I think just understanding that who you're relating to your partner as is that you're seeing them through your filter of your map of the world, and so you're not seeing who they are. And that's why we call a lot of what we do is like a reset for life. It's a reset button for your life. You have the opportunity to realize that the life you're living right now is not one you created. It's not one that you created the possibility of. It's not one that that you even want. It's one that you were handed to. It's based on the environment, the people, the culture, the place you were born into. and you inherited that.
Yeah.
And so once you can start to see that she inherited her version, I inherited my version. If we argue about those two maps clashing.
Yeah.
We are not arguing with each other who she really is, because who she really is not that. Who I really am is not that.
And if you can actually get that by understanding who you are, what becomes possible is you get to choose, right? Like, we have the life we have because we know how to go blank slate. Now what do we want to create? Not here's all the shitty things that are happening or have gone on or whatever, and I'm going to create from that. I'm going to clear the canvas, like I'm getting a brand new canvas to paint on, and I'm going to go, what possibilities do we want to create? Who do we want to be? What do we want to show up into our world? And the more you can do that on a more regular, frequent basis, the better off your relationship and you will be, because you're creating from nothingness versus creating from stuff. And people don't realize, which is like the gem, like that's a gem, guys. If you don't know that you can actually go, hang on a second,
let go of attachment, let go of outcome.
I don't have to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. I can actually go pause. And if you've never done this with your partner, even just stop. Like today, when you're listening to this, is go pause. Let's just pause. Let's just clear our relationship canvas right now. Not like you won't deal with the stuff that you need to deal with, but let's clear the canvas and go, what do we want to create?
Your partner is not a lazy, cantankerous, controlling sack of shit that sits around on the couch all day doing nothing and is born to make you unhappy. And neither are they a controlling, nagging, complaining, never happy, always pissed off at you person either. That is not who they are. That is how they're showing up in the world, or could be showing up in the world. I obviously picked two examples, extreme examples.
I know, very extreme. I'm like, whoa,
yeah,
who's that?
It's better to get right to the nitty gritty of it, right? Because
I
know that we all occur as that at some point in life, and we can all relate to that.
Yeah.
So, but that is not who they are. And what Gail's inviting you to look at is, let's just take a minute to look, but beyond that. Beyond the filters, beyond the stories, beyond the rules, beyond the opinions, beyond the beyond the beliefs, and start to see who they really are. And who they really are is more how you looked at them when you first met. Yeah. In truth.
Yeah, and then what do you want to create from there? Because that's the part that when you, and this is going to probably tie it all back in as I'm speaking this, when you have created a relationship entity and you're working in the 4 cornerstones, what becomes possible for you, for your relationship in your life, is infinite. Like, there is no limits. There's no end to what is possible and what can get created. And I don't know how many times we've like proved that to ourselves over and over and over again. And not just us, we teach our clients, we teach the people we work with how to do that, and how life can totally transform and occur totally different when you go, oh my gosh, let me let go of that and create possibilities.
Yeah, the more you can let go of, the more opportunities, the more possibilities show up, the more you're restricted. Whenever you find yourself saying, it is this way, he is this way, she is this way, they are that way, then you know you're stuck in what we're moving on to anyway next, which is the ego. The ego has a desire to be right. And I don't mean the ego that wants to go out. Yes, this is ego when you want to go out and get a fast car, or you want to look good or whatever. That is all ego. But the ego is all about looking good. It's only doing it to look good.
Well, and its sole purpose in life is for it, the ego, to survive. It doesn't care or give a shit about what you do with your life. It only wants to survive. But you've got to know that it is running, and you can actually create whilst it's doing whatever it's doing. You don't need to...
We don't teach that you can get rid of the ego. So many people are trying to get rid of the ego. We really want to shine a light on it.
Yeah, so you can work with it.
Yeah, you want to work with it because it's there to protect you. It's needed. It's designed. The ego is we had the ego is the fight, flight, freeze mechanism, the survival mechanism.
You always change it. There's something.
The emotional guardian overlord.
Emotional guardian overlord. I'm like, I can't quite remember.
So it's there to protect you physically and emotionally. It just gets overzealous about the whole procedure. And so think of it when you're out in years, however many years ago. We're in the Serengeti. We're in the middle of nowhere. We've got a spear, Our ego's designed to observe, spot, and see a pack of lions, or even a saber-toothed tiger. And when it sees a pack of lions, a saber-toothed tiger, it's designed to react, and it's designed to defend you against that thing so that you know when to run. And what happens in life today, although there are no saber-toothed tigers or no packs of lions, what happens in life today is we see the events that happen around us as a fake saber-toothed tiger, a fake pack of lions.
Yeah.
And because of that, the ego comes out and defends. Now, the ego wants a few things. Most of all, the ego wants to orientate itself. It wants to find its true north and keep coming back to orientation. And how it does that is it takes its rules, its stories, its beliefs and its opinions, and it be's right about them. This is what most religious wars are fought about. Every single religion, each of those religions have a faith and a worship of a god. And that god is very similar in a lot of ways in lots of religions. The religions are the beliefs that emanate from the experience of understanding that god that gets created, that then people get really attached to and then fight over the religions. When most of the time, what I've explored and discovered with a lot of people that are religious is that it all comes from love and forgiveness. It's all what God's about. Yeah. But the religion doesn't allow them to do that, because why? The ego gets hold of it, it defends and it protects by protecting its beliefs. And that's what's happening in the intimate relationship. Yeah. When you're conflicting, your ego feels threatened. Yeah. Your identity, not you.
And you'll go to war. You do.
Yeah.
You go to war with your partner. And it may look like an argument, or, you know.
We did it the other day. Gail said something to me, and when she says something, there's this thing she says to me. She accuses me of something. Yes, you do. In my world, it feels like she's accusing me of something. When she accuses me of that thing, what happens for me is I don't even realise it, but apparently I raise my voice. And then when
he raises his voice, I raise my voice.
She then raises her voice, and she'll level it up about 10 times. And she said to me the other day, she said, why are you raising your voice? And we had this conversation. I said, well, I'm raising it because I feel accused, and that's triggering a childhood wound. Why are you raising yours? And it's like, well, I'm raising mine because you're raising yours, and I feel like I need to defend myself.
Yeah, and the raising of a voice, for me, triggers a childhood wound of not feeling safe and then needing to protect myself. And how I protect myself is I raise my voice, right? So it's like I come out guns a-blazing.
So without the understanding of the ego, the personalities, the childhood wounds, what's going to happen is that's going to escalate into this massive argument. And we've done that. We've done that argument where we've I've stormed out, she's stormed out, she's cried, I've cried, we've driven off, we've said, okay, this must be the end. We've done that years ago. Yeah. Where we had that clash. But the key is to really start to understand that you are not your ego. It is a part of you that you need to protect yourself in certain areas, but you are not your ego. You are not your personality. You are not your childhood wounds. And you are not your map of the world. None of those things are you. You are something different inside that you're longing for somebody outside to take the time to see, to take the time to look at, to take the time to want to get past all that stuff and really get you.
Yeah, get you at a heart level and a heart and soul level, like who you really are when all of that other shit drops away. And when everyone else can't see all of who you are. So it's always interesting. I often use this analogy for myself, because people often, like I'm a big personality. I'm larger than life. I'm confident. I'm very extrovert and loud. And if you don't see past that, you'll never notice that there's the insecurity and the doubt that comes over me, because you'll get consumed by seeing all those other things. And it's always interesting when people go like, what? Like, you have what? because they don't see it, because they miss it because of all the external. But if you really get to know who your partner is as an essence, you can spot and see all of the little parts and the little things that actually make up a really big part of who they are.
Yeah, you know, she has to look past the arrogance and the
Righteous,
arsehole.
asshole.
I've done a lot of work on the righteous, arrogant arsehole. But you know, so I hope and I pray that it's not as running my life as much as it used to when I was young. And obviously that's my experience of it and my story about it. But you know, she can look past that when I'm doing that, being that in my moments.
And sometimes just call it out. Righteous, arrogant asshole.
And so when she does that, she can see who I really am. And all that's really happening is a frightened, scared little boy who's feeling like he's not getting the love or the safety that he needs.
Fighting.
And he's fighting for his place in the life.
Yeah.
Because right now, for whatever reason, I'm mistaken her for a pack of lions or a saber-toothed tiger.
Yeah.
And so as soon as you can start to see that and understand, your ego, your map of the world, your childhood wounds and your personality type, all things that we'll dig into at a much deeper level at different times. But to give you the overview of what the relationship entity is and what the relationship method is, it's the relationship entity.
Yeah, which is at the heart of the relationship method. And then you've got the 4 cornerstones, which is communication, connection, the masculine and feminine state, and self-actualization.
Yeah, and if you keep unpacking each one of those cornerstones, and they cross-reference at different times, but the more you unpack them, the more you understand them. It's not rocket science, if you like. It's not mumbo jumbo.
No.
It takes time to learn and understand, for sure, but with each tiny little bit of understanding, your relationship gets either a tiny bit or a lot better.
Yeah, and I think that's the important thing, because some people can go like, whoa, I've got to get like all that happening. And the reality is that any one component, when you change that in the relationship, will have a drastic impact. It's not like you have to get it all working as a well-oiled machine before you can experience the good stuff in your relationship. The good stuff starts happening as soon as you get one thing. And no, I don't mean one, like not the whole relationship entity or one whole cornerstone. I mean like one component, like one part of any of those, and you totally transform, and your relationship becomes a totally different space. So the relationship method is working straight from the get-go. It's not like oh my gosh, I need a year till I can actually notice the difference. You will notice it after a session working with us.
Just as we start to wrap this up, something comes to mind that I use a lot in the seminars that we teach, but it really is hold the fearful mind in the cradle of loving kindness. And if you can do that for yourself, you can do it for yourself. That allows you to have more compassion, empathy, and kindness for your partner.
Yeah.
So hold the fearful mind in the cradle of loving kindness. Our minds are terrified of not having the love or being left or whatever. So maybe that's a good place to wrap it up.
It is the relationship method.
Yeah.
Looking forward to working with you guys.
Cool. See you next time. Thank you.
See you next time.